So we do have an agenda to get to tonight. So I think I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm so glad that you're all here. This is a really special evening, and we've been building up to this evening as a group for quite some time, 6-7 months now. So this is the culmination of a lot of collective work. This evening is co-created and co-facilitated. So though I am starting us out, I'd also like to bring in the names of all of us who will be leading us this evening. So we are an Ecosattva group of 12. 8 of us are facilitating this evening in various ways. And the 8 of us who are here tonight, Angel Lillard, Linda Capacione, Sandy Newhouse, Sarah Adams, Matt Fritz, Susan Kaufman, and Mary Louise Kelly. I'm Liz Reynolds, and this evening is a time for us as an Ecosattva group. I'm going to explain in a minute what that means, to kind of share the learning that we've gone through over the last 6 months as a group. We met a total of about 10 times as a group and have journeyed together individually and collectively at this intersection of Buddhist practice and environmental care. This word Ecosattva that we've been throwing around a bit, it's a new word. I'm not sure if I'm using it right. I'm not completely sure what it means, but what it feels like for me, and I think for many of us here, comes from the term bodhisattva, which is an awakened, enlightened being. That's the sattva part. The eco part, of course, refers to our natural world, and also kind of begs us to remember the plight of our natural world, the difficulties that we're facing, that our Mother Earth and us as extensions of Mother Earth are facing. So the hope for this evening is an aspiration to share our learnings, share parts of our journey with all of us here tonight, and also to inspire some or all of us to think about our own contribution to this intersection, how we can get involved and how we can work more intentionally with the crisis that is facing us all on some level. So just a very brief overview of what our evening will look like. We're going to start out with an invocation and land acknowledgement. That will be from Angel. We will have a brief sit, about 20 minutes. And then we have the honor of listening to 3 of our participants share some of their reflections from their learnings, their experience of the program that we went through. We did go through an actual program from One Earth Sangha. We'll then have some time, about 20 minutes, for all of us here tonight to reflect on and discuss what this brings up for us, this topic, how it resonates with us. And then we'll get to move into a guided portion of taking Ecosattva vows, if that feels appropriate for you. And then we'll wrap up by kind of sharing where we're hoping to go together as a Sangha at this intersection of environmental care. We'll close with the dedication of merit by Mary Louise. So with that, I will pass over our facilitator role to Angel Lillard. Angel, thanks so much.
All right. So thank you all for being here. It's wonderful to see all your faces and gather here. I wanted to start with this expression of Thanksgiving that was developed by the Haudenosaunee peoples, which included the Mohawks, the Sioux, and several other original peoples of this land, and of course the Monacan Nation, whose land we're on today, were one of the Sioux tribes. And the translation is adopted from that of John Stokes, and I've just chosen a few verses. Today we've gathered, and when we look upon the faces around, we see that the cycles of life continue. We've been given the duty to live in balance and harmony with each other and all living things. So now, let us bring our minds together as one, as we give greetings and thanks to each other as people. And now our minds are one. We're thankful to our mother, the earth, for she gives us all that we need for life. She supports our feet as we walk about upon her. It gives us joy that she continues to care for us as she has from the beginning of time. To our mother, we send thanksgiving, love, and respect. And now our minds are one. And the water, we give thanks to all the waters of the world for quenching our thirst and providing us with strength. Water is life. We know its power in many forms: waterfalls and rain, mists and streams, rivers and oceans. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to the spirit of water. And now our minds are one. Now we turn towards the vast fields of plant life. As far as the eye can see, the plants grow, working many wonders. They sustain many life forms. With our minds gathered together, we give thanks and look forward to seeing plant life for many generations to come. Now our minds are one. The animals, we gather our minds together to send greetings and thanks to all the animal life in the world. They have many things to teach us as people. We're honored by them when they give up their lives so we may use their bodies as food for our people. We see them near our homes and in the deep forests. We're glad they're still here, and we hope that it will always be so. Now our minds are one. The sun, we now send greetings and thanks to our eldest brother, the sun. Each day without fail, the sun travels the sky from east to west, bringing the light of a new day. The sun is the source of all the fires of life. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to the sun. Now our minds are one. We gather our minds to greet and thank the enlightened teachers who've come to help throughout the ages. When we forget how to live in harmony, they remind us of the way we were instructed to live as people. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to these caring teachers. Now our minds are one. Now we turn our thoughts to the Creator, or Great Spirit, and send greetings and thanks for all the gifts of creation. Everything we need to live a good life is here on this Mother Earth. For all the love that is still around us, we gather our minds together as one and send our choicest words of greetings and thanks to the Creator. And now our minds are one. We've now arrived at the place where we end our words. Of all the things we've named, it was not our intention to leave anything out. If something was forgotten, we leave it to each individual to send such greetings and thanks in their own way. Now our minds are one.
Thank you, Angel. We'll now move into a period of meditation. From that base point of uniting our minds, offering thanks, we might allow the focus of this mind to settle within this body. Sometimes bringing a gentle focus on this body and help remind us of our relationship to the ground. Noticing that this ground, this earth, is steady, is solid, and is inviting this being, a body, a heart, a mind. And this ground is inviting us to settle. You might notice the rhythmic way the breath is flowing in and through this body. Noticing how that process moves through without any need for direction, advice. There's an invitation to open just slightly more to this breath, moving through this body in its own miraculous way. As our invocation invited us to cultivate gratitude towards so much of our natural world. We might return this mind, this body, this heart to whatever relationship with the natural world, place, being, could be an animal, relationship with a tree, relationship with a river being, our sun brother, relationship with the mountains, with the rain, relationship with a flower bed, a garden plot, a backyard. As this mind might settle with a place, a being. There's an invitation to sense in with our bodies the deep kinship us human beings have with all other beings of the natural world. As we breathe in, there might be an awareness that this is the same air that our trees breathe through. As we notice the pumping of blood with our heartbeats, and there could be an awareness that this body is composed of the same water that we so cherish in a mountain stream, a torrential rainstorm, in the Rivanna River. You might bring to mind a garden plot, the experience we might have with growing our own food, even growing flowers. In that moment of receiving nurturance in the form of food to this body. There could be the awareness, when does food become part of this body? Blurring that line between the natural world's offerings and this body that sometimes seems so separate and finite. And so for the remainder of our sitting time together, an invitation to notice that just as we care for these bodies of ours, when a body faces sickness or difficulty, so too may we offer deep care for this natural world that supports and sustains us always, every second of every day. There could be a stirring of the heart space. A sincere wish for well-being for our Mother Earth. A sincere wish for our own well-being as members of this natural world. Moving into a few minutes of silent practice. Offering care, receiving care, and resting in this interconnection, unbreakable interconnection among all beings. Well, so now we'll be moving into to our reflection part of the evening. We have 3 brave souls who are going to be sharing. First will be Sandy Newhouse, Sarah Adams, and Linda Capicchione will go last. And just to kind of frame this a bit, during our group meetings, we had a council approach, I would say, where we were all taking up the same amount of space, hopefully. And so this evening, in that model, I'll just be ringing a bell at 5 minutes after each person speaks, and we'll move on to the next person. Our hope for this evening is to kind of give folks a chance to taste how it was being in our group. So with that, I'll pass it over to Sandy. Sandy, thanks so much.
So being part of the One Earth Sangha Ecosattva training is something that I'd had an interest in for a long time. I had heard about it some years ago and was very moved, and just felt that it was so critical for us as Buddhists to be able to find our way with environmental issues and the crisis that we're facing. It was really delightful to be able to participate in the program with IMCC, and Liz did such a beautiful job of leading us. The council method that Liz mentioned that's suggested by One Earth Sangha was a really lovely format for all of us, and just was a beautiful experience of being with each person that came to the meetings, and just such a beautiful community feeling grew as we each gave each other space to reflect on the issues of the intersection between Dharma practice and the climate situation that we face. One Earth Sangha provides a series of modules, very, very beautiful program coordinated through Washington, DC, where there's national leaders, Buddhist leaders from the different traditions, which is part of what made it so rich for me, to be able to hear leading practitioners within the Zen movement, within IMCC, within Tibetan Buddhism, and to hear how these incredibly accomplished practitioners were integrating the work with their Buddhist practice. And it was a very wide array of experiences. They start the program off with helping us to face the situation more fully. And like I think most of us were experiencing, it's just so big what we're all facing. And so you very quickly find that the Buddhist practices that we've been doing all along are so essential as we move into this next phase of our lives. And I personally found that the process of the information, the way it was provided through One Earth Sangha and through our local group, that it definitely helped to metabolize a lot of the feelings that come up as you let yourself feel more what's going on and think about how you want to be with it. For myself, it became a combination of how to combine contemplative practice with also learning more about various institutional components. One thing that became very motivated by during the program was to research and find out that the University of Virginia, for example, still has their very, very large endowment fund invested in fossil fuels. And there's a small movement on campus to change that. But it's these kinds of things of just starting to look around and seeing if there's ways to combine our practice with social action as well. What else to say? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you, Sandy. Those were some really impactful words, and I'm excited to share with you all my experience as well. I found the program to be really welcoming, and the instructors and the members of this Sangha that joined as well to be equally as welcoming. The most impactful aspect of the program for me was actually the community that I felt within the group of people that we had within us. It felt very much like a refuge from the larger climate change issues that are happening around us. And I felt very comfortable sharing in the group the amount of grief that I felt about what has happened to the world, and even the anger that I still have of what's to come for us. And our Sangha did such a really amazing job of having a great space to have that sort of those big emotions and to talk through them with the leading questions that were provided by One Earth, and then also with just the general safe space that everyone provided. In my life, I don't have a lot of places where I feel comfortable kind of sharing this level of grief or anger about climate change. And I just felt that that was something that I was missing in my practice, and something that really helped me engage with this work on a deeper level than I had before. More than that, this community also showed me that there are places for hope and places of growth and optimism. Our young adult Sangha had just finished doing some of the Brahmaviharas and had brought some of that work of compassion into this Ecosattva training as well. And I'm really grateful for the community and getting to know more members of IMCC. Some of you may not recognize my face because I am relatively new to the community at large. So this was a really good place to kind of get to know people on a deeper level with really specific engaged Buddhism to kind of work through. I think the most impactful part of the course content for me was the inquiries that One Earth Sangha sent us home with. We had these video lectures that we got to hear from that Sandy talked to a bit, and then they had some inquiry questions where we could kind of work with on our own, and then we would come back into the group and talk to as a whole. For example, and this is similar to one of the questions that Liz has prepared for us in the smaller groups as well. But one of the most impactful questions for me was from session 2, and it was around what blocks my heart from touching the reality of our situation. And part of having our larger community, together gave me space to kind of work through, kind of those blocks and open up my heart more to being able to be more of a participant in climate justice. Yeah, there are also some really great speakers, and they had really great tidbits of information for us as well. One of my favorite pieces was a sense of empowerment that I got hearing about one of the native speakers that talked to us, and we got to hear about the Society of Fearless Grandmothers, which was a group that came together to kind of stand in front of I think it was a pipeline that was going to be built. And so the grandmothers kind of stood at the forefront to keep them from kind of building this pipeline as petition. And so just having stories like this and seeing people come together, it felt very empowering. Overall, I think the program was very well structured. So if we had opportunity, you had opportunity to kind of prepare beforehand, but also our group was really welcoming and grateful for anyone who could participate. And if you were unable to kind of do the work beforehand, you still had plenty of opportunity to share and be a part of the community the day of as well. So it was kind of a come one, come all situation. That's all I'll share today, and I'll actually pass to Linda a little bit early.
Okay, I think I unmuted myself. Okay. Hi, everybody. It's really nice to be here and see all your faces. And so, you know, I once was a part of IMCC, more involved member. And when I saw that this offering was coming about, I just jumped to it. And fortunately, I got in. There was a long wait list. It's something also that I've been wanting to do for a long time with more folks, you know, and develop more Sangha, you know, this Eco Sangha we have. And yeah, so I guess it was in 2013 that this first was unrolled by One Earth Sangha, was rolled out rather. And I did take the course then, and since then it's really developed quite a bit. It's really rich, as has been said. So very provoking and relatable, inspiring, and definitely relating to the Dharma and the two wings of the compassion and wisdom. So we were, you know, encouraged to really embody and metabolize or compost our feelings, to feel, you know, what was challenging us and speak to that and express that. So it was very, very helpful to process and to not to necessarily spiritually bypass, right? So and you know, so I felt it to be very supportive, and I felt a lot of gratitude for this local group particularly, because for me it's more tangible, accessible, that maybe there's a possibility to take action when we're ready to take the action. And actually, we are taking action by just relating to this topic with our practice. So during one of our sessions together, I will recall that I just got this image, and I share this, of just wanting to sit on the land with this group, with our local group, by the river, by the Rivanna River. And it just felt, you know, I just wanted to just sit. You know, it wasn't necessarily taking action at that moment, but it was just embodying and feeling our connection and the oneness and appreciation and gratitude for Mother Nature and the beauty and the gifts that are provided for us. And then there was a nice response from others that they felt similarly. So I have been called to action, and it was really nice to be able to, you know, compost the grief with others, climate grief or climate anxiety, and be able to come out and actually see some light right now in terms of through that tunnel, to see that it feels actually tangible and possible to take action now. And it just arose that as one thing led to another, that we needed a space, some land to practice on. And through like Sandy looking into one thing, and then that feeling like, no, not quite right for right now. And then another spot that I was considering, and that wasn't going to be it either. But then it led to this beautiful space where we decided that we were going to adopt a spot. So I contacted, I looked up the information online and contacted Adopt a Spot contact person, Chris Gensick, and he happened to be available to meet us, and we were all available to meet, and we just signed a contract. So that has been submitted. And this is with these big stones. And apparently, like someone, I think Angel said, this is the area too, and Sandy mentioned it as well, the Monacan we're the first inhabitants here, and there's even a possibility that we may be able to invite descendants who are nearby to share and be on the land here. So the point being is that we want to practice and see each other and be in person and have that nature connection. So that's the next action plan. And I'm excited to share that. Thank you.
So much, Linda. And Sandy and Sarah, thanks so much, all of you. All right, folks, so we've come to part of our session that Matt and Susan Kaufman will be facilitating. So I'll hand it over to both of you.
Yes, so at the conclusion of the Ecosattva training, we were invited to affirm our commitment to the health and vitality of all beings, seen and unseen, near and far, born and yet to be born, by repeating the Ecosattva vows. They're based on vows that were written by Joanna Macy. I see that Judy put a link to an organization that she's the root teacher of called The Work That Reconnects. And there are wonderful resources there for rituals and readings and individual practices and group practices to really lead us from despair and overwhelm into collaborative work. So we were encouraged to repeat these vows every day as a reminder of our intention to continue our engagement and to be strengthened by the idea, by knowing that other people were also taking these vows and repeating them. And repeating them each offers an anchor point that again and again of the purpose and what we hold dear and the behaviors that support us in serving the purpose of making a difference. So Matt is going to lead us through the vows.
Yes, indeed. I'm going to put in the chat the link to these vows that I'm going to screen share. So I love this image here. Reminds me of what Linda referenced around the two wings of the bird and wisdom and compassion. So I thought what we would do is I'll read each of the vows aloud and then pause for a time to have us either reflect on that vow or that intention, we could call it, or to repeat it to ourselves. So the first vow or intention is based on my love of the world and understanding of deep interdependence of all things. I vow to live in earth more lightly and less violently in the food, products, and energy I consume. Based on my love of the world and understanding of deep interdependence of all things, I vow to commit myself daily to the healing of the world and the welfare of all beings, to discern and replace human systems of oppression and harm. Based on my love of the world and understanding of deep interdependence of all things, I vow to invite personal discomfort as an opportunity to share in the challenge of our collective liberation. Based on my love of the world and understanding of deep interdependence of all things, I vow to draw inspiration, strength, and guidance from the living earth, ancestors, and the future generations, as well as siblings of all species. Based on my love of the world and understanding of deep interdependence of all things, I vow to help others in their work for the world and to ask for help when I feel the need. And finally, based on my love of the world and understanding of deep interdependence of all things, I vow to pursue a daily spiritual practice that clarifies my mind, strengthens my heart, and supports me in observing these vows.
We'll end our evening tonight with a dedication of merit. Mary Louise, I'll pass it to you. Thank you, everyone, so much.
I will share the dedication of merit. It was one of the many beautiful resources that One Earth Dharma offered that we would use in our meetings. And we'll share it with you now. May all places be held sacred. May all beings be cherished. May all injustices of oppression and devaluation be fully righted, remedied, and healed. May all who are captured by hatred be freed to the love that is our birthright. May all who are bound by fear discover the safety of understanding. May all who are weighed down by grief be given over to the joy of being. May all who are lost in delusion find a home on the path of wisdom. May all wounds to forests, rivers, deserts, oceans, all wounds to Mother Earth be lovingly restored to bountiful health. May all beings everywhere delight in whale song, bird song, and blue sky. May all beings abide in peace and well-being, awaken and be free. May it be so.